So, Jonathan, I am such a huge fan of your work and
Thank you.
Return of the Gods. That is what I'm reading right now. It is incredible to see how there's nothing new under the sun,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
what the Israelites were doing back then is what the modern day Christians are doing. A lot of them, we are still worshiping other gods. We tend to gravitate towards other things, other entities, or other idols. So.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the Harbinger and just how it's going to reach, like you said, a broader audience, people that are not readers. And I want to ask you, as you write these books, because I want to say you are truly a prophet of the Lord. There are a lot of people that claim to be prophets, but I have always held you to high esteem as a true prophet of the Lord. And I wanted to ask you, what kind of spiritual warfare have you encountered writing these books?
Amazing, because virtually every book I write, on the day of the release, I don't know how to I guess this is okay to say, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
When the Harbinger came, first book I wrote, the hurricane came to our building and flooded us with 4 feet of water. We lost our building for months.
Wow.
Okay, that on that time. Another one, like the next one, on the release date, I get this mysterious. I'm paralyzed. I get some mysterious thing. It was a mysterious infection. They had no idea what it was. I'm in the hospital. They take me to the hospital. I'm there for that week of the thing. On the day, another one. On the day of the release, my appendix bursts. I'm in the hospital. I've never been in the hospital like overnight, and only when
Wow.
a book is released, and I can go through the whole thing. When I did the Dragon's Prophecy, which is you're dealing with the dragon. The moment I started, as I started writing it, everything happened. I'm writing about. In Revelation, the woman and the flood, the dragon, spinning a flood. And as I'm writing about the flood, a flood comes against our building. 3 floods, like one after the other, by different causes, and it only stopped when I got past that section, So
Wow.
there has always been warfare. You'd expect it, I guess. You expect it, but yeah, there's always warfare, and often dramatically, when it gets closer to the release, we're praying, but God always wins, But this is what we'd expect. It's a good sign.
Yes, yes, wow. And of course, if you're publishing something that is prophetic, you're going to have the devil around you, And what would you say about prophecy and prophets? The devil does stick closer to them, doesn't he? Because he doesn't know the future, but when they speak, then he gets some air of it. Would you say that?
Well, the enemy is the enemy. It's kind of like the enemy. It gravitates around the things of God. Just like when the Lord was ministering and the demon possessed would shout out and try to stop it. So he gravitates it to stop it on one hand, to know what he needs, he wants to know, but also to stop things before they happen. He's a preemptor. And so when anything is starting, he always tries to stop it. So we have to, that's an encouragement in the sense that if you're in God's will, then, and you're it's all coming against you, you're being flooded with, well, be blessed, because it means there's something really great, that the enemy is not wasting his fire. God has something really great for you. So again, it's a good sign. We don't enjoy it, but it's a good sign. But yeah, you'd expect that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm really interested about this one topic that I want to ask you about. In the church, there is a massive movement of YouTube prophets. There's a massive movement of deception regarding kingdom spouse. And this is something I want to talk to you about because my audience is really interested in all things relationship.
Yeah.
And their future spouse. And in the church, of
Yeah.
course, most Christians, they think, man, if I'm not married, then it's a curse upon me, and I'm a secondhand Christian or whatever, a lower tier Christian. But I wanted to ask you, what can you speak into people believing God told me this is my husband. I've been through this deception. 2 years I waited for a man and it was not it. And I got all these signs. I got all these dreams.
Very
And this
interesting.
is huge in the church right now.
Very interesting.
A lot of dreams, a lot of signs. And I want you to speak into it because what we're talking about, the Harbinger, what we're talking about in all of these different books that you're writing, the Return of the Gods, we are in the end times. And the devil wants to deceive us and take our eyes off of what's really happening here, distracting us.
Yeah. Well, listen, and I could also bear witness to, I was engaged early on in the Lord, like I was like 22 years old. And there seemed to be signs, and we thought and wait, all that. And it wasn't, and then God had something else. Actually, God had someone across the world in Brazil who had been given words that there's a man across the world who's Jewish. He's from the tribe of Levi. That's me. Sounds the shofar around the world, ministers. Prepare yourself because you're going to be his helpmate. You're going to. Well, it happened, but I had no idea of it for years. And in fact, it was only when I totally gave up, said, "Okay, Lord, if you don't want me to be married, I'm fine. I'm fine." That's when it happened. But we have to be careful because on one hand, the enemy will play on anything. Play on that. There's a natural desire, obviously, to be married, and it's not that it's wrong. It's good that you want to be married. On one hand, but on the other hand, the more important than that, first of all, we do have a spouse and we do have a beloved, and we are all married. And whether we are married on earth or single, listen, if you're single, you are blessed. If you're married, you're blessed. If you have a good marriage, you're blessed. If you have a bad marriage, it's worse than being single. And being single can be better. You're still married, and we're still, on one hand, we're all single to God, and we're also all married to God, no matter what it is. And you can be blessed. There are benefits of both. Paul was single. John the Baptist was single. A lot of the great people of God were single. So they're used to that. You want his best no matter what. And in order to have his best, you got to be willing to have, Lord, I'm okay either way. And that's when that came with me. Now, you don't want to say, okay, I'm okay now, so quickly get down, bring that person. You have to be truly okay. If you're true, you have to be okay either way because it's God. If we're putting God first in our life, if there's not an idol, then it has to be okay. Marriage can't be an idol. And then you're more likely, you're going to be more open if there is something of God to see it. If you're so wrapped up in something, it's very hard to see it, to see what God has. And the other thing is that you can also fool yourself as well. The enemy can get in there, and people also, I was a single pastor, so there were like 100 women who all heard from God that they were supposed to marry me, and they had convinced themselves of it, But that's not God. All you're doing is putting, you got to guard your emotions, guard your desires, because the only way you can have God's best if you put Him first over desires, then you will have His best, and there's nothing better than that, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, that's really, really good. And it really sums up everything that I talk about on my channel. It's like when you don't want it, when you're really content with the Lord, He'll give it to you because it's not an idol. Yeah. But what would you say about this movement of false prophets?
Of the general phenomenon of false prophets in the body, you mean, or specific movement?
Specific in YouTube. Everyone's now a prophet.
Okay. Yeah, because now we have YouTube. So it's another means, it's another platform. Beware, be careful. Most people who go around pushing themselves as prophets are not prophets, or they wouldn't do it. Jeremiah didn't go around saying, "Hey, the prophet Jeremiah Ministries didn't do that." None of them did. None of them did. They were number one, they were humble. They were seeking to do God, or they were dealing with it, but they weren't. Again, it's human nature to lift yourself up. Right. So and if someone's truly of the Lord, they're not going to be doing that, or God's going to disqualify them if they start doing that. So be very careful. And the other thing is that don't accept somebody just because they said it, and don't accept just because somebody says, "Thus says the Lord." Now, whether they call themselves a prophet or whether they're in your church, they say, "Thus saith the Lord." The Lord said. It doesn't mean that the Lord said it. It's much easier to say, "Thus saith the Lord," than for the Lord to say it. You know, the Lord saying it is a jewel. If it's God, cling to it, hold on to it. You know, test all things. You know, hold on to what is good. But if it's of God, awesome. I'm total. When God says something, yeah. But most of what, it's much easier to make imitations and counterfeits than the real diamond. And so people can easily just, "Thus said the Lord," doesn't mean it. God says in the new covenant, they each will hear me. They will each know me. So God's going to speak to you. First of all, he'll speak to you. He at special times uses this thing, but you got to make sure it's of God and don't just accept it because somebody told you. You know, I didn't mean to get into it, but I'm in the ministry. Sometimes I'll tell something, you know, okay, directive, we got to do this. And then the person will get back and say, "Oh, well, this person said you wanted this." I said, "You heard from me directly." What do you mean? Why did you take someone else saying secondhand? God speaks directly. God may confirm and may do special things by using another person. That's great. But he speaks to you. You know, if you have a relationship with him, you know, that's first. So don't put everything on because someone said it.
That's so good. Thank you, Jonathan. That was so good. I wanted to also ask you, I have a question here regarding the Harbinger. Yeah, in the Harbinger, you know, you put a clear distinction between, you know, divine. You talk about divine warnings. How can believers today discern between a prophetic, you know, event and just a regular event that's happening, a chaotic event?
Okay. Well, you know, one is that, you know, events that, I mean, listen, we're living in a world where a million things happen at all times, and we're also overloaded with that on the internet. The thing is that the question is God in something in a specific way? And if so, what is he saying? Because the interpretation of what it means is a whole another thing. It has to be, first of all, it has to be consistent with the Word of God that we know. Any revelation has got to be consistent with that. Second, it's got to be consistent with the way God speaks and the messages that He does speak. It has to be consistent with God. There has to be, that. Also, God knows how to speak, so He knows how to communicate clearly. So there's some things that like for instance, the Harbinger. When 9/11 happened, most believers were feeling this is a wake up call, but it was a feeling. What the Harbinger is saying, it's not just a feeling. They're exact signs that go with what he did in the Bible. They're the exact same ones, but now manifesting in America, warning America. It's happening. So it's based on something objective. It's not just because I feel it. Now God His Spirit can tell you, okay, that this means this, and it may be so. I mean, if God told you, but it can whether that's God or not, that's a question. But the other thing is that, but it has to be consistent with how God speaks, with what He says, His message, with it. So sometimes some things are real. I mean, because they kind of defy the odds, and it's against all odds. Like, wait a minute, how did this happen here and this happen here? You remember the Olympics, and that blasphemous thing that happened at the beginning, where they had this, this blasphemy of the Last Supper and all that. Well, obviously, you can say that's demonic, number one, and God's allowing this to be seen. That's a very clear thing, with that. With the Harbingers, there are an example in the last days of ancient Israel, for those who don't know it. 9 Harbingers or 9 prophetic signs appeared through events, but they appeared in the last days of Israel, warning the nation that it was heading to judgment. It knew God, but turned away. Those same exact harbingers, have appeared now in America, on American soil, warning America that we're the nation that knew God. We have departed, and we are in danger. We have a grace period right now, but it's a time. And the thing is that, and when I started. When it all started, and speaking of how we interpret things, I was standing at ground zero, and I saw a tree that had been struck down. And it's like the Lord said, okay, you have to search this out. And it wasn't just the Lord said, this means this. You have to search this out. So I started going through the word, and it was like, there it was. This one, and then came the next one, and the next one, all according to the word. The next one, until it was just so exploded that, you couldn't deny it. And so, God knows how to speak. He's been doing it for a long time, and he knows how to make things clear as well, and he will do it. And we each hear differently, but he knows how to do that. So, seek God, for anything whether it's your life or whether it's in the world. But, it's got to be significant. There are a lot of things that happen every day, and people say, okay, yeah, well, that means that, they won the Super Bowl, so that means that. Be careful. Be careful. God will make it clear, and it will be consistent with the Bible.
Yes, that's so good. That's so good. And because I think having that discernment of saying, this is something that is in prophecy, right? It's in the Word of God, and it's manifesting again. And then it's, there's certain things that are just sad, tragic events that happen because of the fall of man.
Yeah.
And sin in the world.
Yeah. See, the thing is that, because there are people, when any bad event happens, they'll tell you how God is judging you.
Right.
And you're like Job's counselors, But this is, first of all, there has to be a context. We are in a nation that is turned away from God. The Bible says you do that, you do the things we're doing, you're under judgment anyway. No more. But also the fact that, I'm not someone who's, okay, I saw this, so that means that. But when there's something like, wait a minute, this is against all the odds. This is matching with this and matching with, there's no way you could put this together. So that means something.
Yes. And what I really love about the Harbinger is you put people's eyes on things above. Mm-hmm. You put people's eyes on the things that are not seen, right? Like, obviously you're talking about things that you can see, but you are getting people in a mindset of, let's think about the kingdom. Let's think about the things of God. And let's look with spiritual lenses at the events that are happening in the world. Let's not look just carnally. I think a lot of times we, in the Christian world, a lot of us, we get so wrapped up in our own world. Mm-hmm. We get so wrapped up in our own desires, like marriage, that we really have our eyes on things on earth, on things that are just, whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The Lord uses things on earth to get our eyes on things of heaven. And the Lord, like for instance, the Lord Jesus always used, he spoke about things on earth to get it, spoke about the harvest and the sowing and the seasons and the signs and all that, the trees, but it was all to get us to him. That's what it's about. This world is like a sign. This world is filled with symbolism of the heavenly. It's a shadow world of what is heavenly. And God is using everything in our life to get us to him. It's about, ultimately it's a love story. It's the bridegroom and the bride. And he's using everything he can to draw us to him. It says, blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. If our hearts are pure and we're seeking God, He will show us through everything in our life. He's our teacher. This whole world is our classroom, and everything is his lesson. If we are open, if we are watching, if we are receiving, he's speaking to us all the time.
Right. That's so good. Yeah. Because it's like Job says, God speaks in one way and another, but man does not perceive it. And so sometimes God has to give us dreams, get us when we're quiet and vulnerable in our sleep to speak to us, warnings.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you about hearing the voice of the Lord, because a lot of believers want to learn how to hear the voice of the Lord. And as you're writing these incredible novels, prophetic novels, or not novels, I'm sorry.
Some
books.
Some
are novels?
Some have stories and some are direct. But either way, it's a revelation.
Revelation from the Lord.
Yeah.
How is the Lord speaking to you? Would you say that it's through mostly, I know it's probably in many different ways, but mostly visions, mostly a still small voice? How are you hearing from the Lord?
The Lord, one is he guides me. When I'm seeking him and I'm believing that there's going to be there's something here.
Right.
But so he's guiding me. He'll put things in my mind. And like again, Harbinger, I'm seeing something, and the Lord says, you have to seek this out, and then he leads me, and for instance, with with any book, I could never reproduce how it happened because it just happened in this journey. And it kind of like in the Harbinger, there's a guy going through a journey with these prophetic seals, and each one is opening something up. Well, in a sense, that's the way it happens. Sometimes when I needed like the next key. Someone would say the word, and the word would be the key that I needed. Or sometimes something would appear on my computer screen that I did not ask for. That was the next key.
Wow.
So but the main thing for me is he puts it into my heart, he puts it into my mind. And then once I have it, then I have to seek it out. And once I seek it out, I'll do the research, I'll do it, and then I'll say, whoa, it's real. And then sometimes as I'm seeking it out, he puts another thing like, wait, look here and look there. And then that becomes the next thing. So he leads me through that still small voice. And for instance, one time I'm laying down on my bed, my wife is sleeping next to me, and three things come to me at once, and like, is this real, Lord? Like, wait, that can't be. That's too much. I get up, I sneak out and go to the computer, and there it is. It's all real. It's all real. And it came in a flash. So the Lord directs. And then sometimes, so really he does that with the books. And then sometimes, he'll also do things that confirm. Like before I write a book, I'll bring it to the Lord and say, okay, Lord, what's the next book? Is it this? I have in my head like 10 books, and that are yet to be written. And then God gives other things. But I said, Lord, what's the next book? And then he'll show me the sign. He just did it last week, but he gives me the sign. This is the next book. And then, okay, Lord, now show me this. So usually before I write a book, okay, I'll have like thousands of pages of notes. Wow. Of what I've seen, what's happened, what I researched, this thing, all the things that came, and then from that will come the book, which will be like 300 or 200, 300 pages. But it's from that. It's from that. And my favorite part is the downloading.
Yes. I love that. Yeah, like how I hear from the Lord is, of course, through the word and dreams sometimes, but it's just almost like an intrusive thought. It's not something that I know that I did not think this.
Yeah.
This is not me.
Yes. Yeah.
I had a question regarding, I have so many questions for you, but my goodness, when you have a baby, you forget everything.
I've had babies, but not directly, so I can't say that.
But you've had a wife, so you know.
That yes, that is true.
You forget.
I do.
So, yes. When we are looking at the issue of politics, right? This world, of course, politics has been in the Bible forever. God is not separate from politics.
Yes.
And you talk a lot about the prophecies that are being fulfilled in politics right now. But what would you say about people that worship politics?
Okay. Yeah. Now, usually when I get in that realm, that's like the realm of the paradigm.
Yes.
By the way,
yes, so
when I told you I was laying in my bed with my wife, and three things came with a paradigm. One of them was a mystery that gave the exact date that of 9/11 that it would happen on the exact date, but it just came like that. But the thing is that the paradigm, but not exactly. I wouldn't say it's a prophecy. It's a template that is prophetic. That it's not saying that the Bible's saying, okay, here Donald Trump, but that there's a pattern, and God has used this pattern, and He's using it to fulfill, and it's happening, and it's unfolding like eerily, like crazily, exactly, even to dates. So there's two extremes. There's a balance here. One is that should have nothing to do with politics. It's the world. You're a Christian, all that. The other is they get so wrapped up in politics that you lose sight of what the whole purpose is. That becomes your end. And so the balance is we are in the world, but not of it. We are lights of the world, but we are not to be corrupted by the world. So the thing is, we are not of politics, we are of God, but we are to affect politics. We're to affect every realm of earth that we can. Affect it without being affected by it. And don't confuse the Lord with politics, because we're not, there may be a party that goes along with a lot of things of God at one point. Great, but we don't put our trust in the party. The party could change tomorrow. And we are not first conservative. We're not first, even though that may be where we fall in many ways. We are believers in Messiah, in the Lord, and so we are lights to the world. So yes, we should affect every part, including politics, but don't put your trust in it. Don't put your faith. Don't look to it. You're not there to receive from it. You're there to receive from heaven and then touch earth, including every realm of politics. Touch it, but don't be touched by it.
Yes. Wow. I love that. Affect the world, but don't be affected by the world.
Yes.
It's so
light.
good.
You are a light to the world.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. So I know I'm kind of jumping around.
It's okay.
But I have so many questions. You've really shaped my walk of God.
Thank you.
Throughout my walk.
Thank you.
It's like, I don't listen to a lot of people, but I listen to you.
Thank you.
When we're talking about in the book of Revelation, is there anywhere where you talk about the fake Jews of the synagogue of Satan?
Interesting question. Is it because it comes up on the internet, or it just came up?
No, I'm actually just wondering.
Okay, no, because it's interesting because that comes up. Actually, I'm going through Revelation now. I mean, at my congregation, first time. I never did, and we're right there. We're right at that point. We're right there. Actually, just began it. A few things about it. Okay, the fake Jews. Okay, so what does it mean? Does it mean they're not Jewish and they're saying they're Jewish? That's one interpretation.
Right.
Or they're Jewish, but they're not living. They're not. The rest of it is not as true Jewish. There most likely was. Because people were also converting back then to Judaism before the gospel came. So, when it talks about that, it can mean either. It can mean Jewish people who are opposing God's will, or it can mean people who are saying they're Jewish and they're opposing God's will and they're not Jewish. Either they're not truly Jewish. To me, listen, Jewish people are Jewish by flesh and blood. Mm-hmm. People who are born again, you're Jewish by spirit, and you go together. One doesn't replace the other; you're joined together. So those are the two major things of it's the letter to the churches where it talks about where there was warfare. They were probably being persecuted by people who either were saying they're Jewish or who were either way at that time.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful because a lot of people, they have their own ideas of what the fake Jews of the synagogue of Satan are.
There are anti-Semites too. I'm not saying that they are. Anti-Semites use this all the time, and they'll use it. Look, they'll try to say, okay, so yeah, you see, the Jews are of the synagogue of Satan, and the Jews are of sons of the. Wait, whoa. First of all, when you get there, you're an agent of the enemy right there. Paul said. The Jews said what he says. Listen, they are to them as they are chosen. They're this. Has God forsaken His people? God forbid. I myself am a Jew. So listen, all the first Christians were Jewish. All the people we read who are teaching us about Jesus pretty much are Jewish in the Bible. So the thing is that, but there's always anti-Semitism. So what they'll try to do is say, well, those aren't. So now the Jews here are either the Jews now are not real Jews, or they're all of the. It never says that. It's talking about a specific event happening there. Number one, and you can't. Jesus, it wasn't that He was Jewish. He is Jewish. He's the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Judah. He is Jewish. Your king is Jewish, and your beloved is Jewish. You're married to a Jewish beloved, and you're grafted in, and so you're spiritually Jewish. So that is your heritage. So don't ever. I'm speaking to don't. There's so much on the internet. Anti-Semitism always, as long as there's the devil, it's going to come up in a new form on the internet. Don't give it anything because it's poison. And by the way, those who curse the Jews, they're going to be cursed. Oh, yes. I've never met a person who cursed the Jews or hated the Jews and wasn't cursed. And I've never met a person, a believer who loved the Jews and wasn't blessed. So listen, that's poison. Just don't have anything to do with it.
Yes. Amen. Yeah. Amen. I don't understand how any Christian could hate a Jewish person because it's like
you're hating yourself. You're hating the tree that you're a branch on.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And Jesus was Jewish. Yeah. Very counterintuitive.
Yeah. And He's in you. And the Jewish Messiah's in you.
Right. He lives in you.
That's as Jewish as it gets.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Jonathan, did you always know that you were called to such a great calling in the Lord?
Well, I was an atheist from 8 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So first, I'm raised in a Jewish home. And my father escaped Hitler, and my parents escaped. My mother's family escaped the Tsar, and raised in a secular. They were both scientists,
Right.
raised in there, and so I had no real sense of God. I mean, except I don't say that. As a little kid, I had a real personal kind of sense of God, but I wasn't surrounded by. I did go to Hebrew school. I did learn about some things from the Bible, but I didn't see God in the synagogue, so I became an atheist. I didn't see him, and that lasted until I realized there's no. Wait a minute, there's got to be a reason why we exist. So I started seeking truth, and then one day I picked up a book. I thought it was a UFO book. It was The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey, which is all about the prophecies of the Bible coming true now. I had no idea of it. Like, wow, blew my mind. It took me years to get saved because I had a rock band. I didn't want to give up anything. I didn't want to give up as a teenager. And finally, I won't go through it, but finally it was only after I was hit by a train that I came to the Lord. And so the thing is that, as a child, I didn't have any sense that except for that really little kid who had the sense of God speaking to him. I lost that. I didn't think there was any. I had no idea. I wasn't saved until my 20th birthday.
Wow.
When I turned 20. And so then, but I always. This is weird. Nobody's asked me like that. I did always have a sense that there was something big or great, but I didn't know like God, and like I didn't know God, So only when I knew God could God do anything, in my life, And then I just saw, okay, just be faithful in everything He gives you, And He just gave me one thing. I didn't seek it. One thing after the next, and then it just became what it became. But I wasn't seeking it. God just led me me to my will, be faithful in little. But yeah, so it's weird. I haven't shared this with him, but I had a sense of something, like there was something, but I couldn't figure out what it was. Only when I came to the Lord, He actually interrupted my life when I came to the Lord with, words that were given and said things that have come true now.
Yes, wow. I think that's the most genuine when somebody that has a platform, they didn't look for it.
Yeah.
It just came. Like they were just doing what the Lord called them to do.
Yeah, it came. That's it. I was graduating college, and I figured, and I had, when I came to the Lord, I was 20 years old, and on my 20th birthday, because when I was hit by the train, I said, Lord, I'll serve you, but when I'm 20, so don't kill me until then. And so it was on my 20th birthday, on top of a mountain, I came to the Lord, and I found out. I didn't plan on sharing all this, but. I'm of the line of Aaron. Cahn means priest. From the line of Aaron. And the thing is that it wouldn't mean anything. I mean, if there's no temple except Jesus, except ministry. And now and so I found out later, as I'm reading the Bible, that the sons of Aaron began serving the Lord when they turned 20 on their 20th birthday.
Wow.
So I had no idea. I was just buying time, but God's in charge of everything. And so at that time when I came to the Lord, I was in college, and then words were given to me, and I said, okay, Lord, what you called me to ministry. It said you're called for ministry, and I don't know what to do, so I ended up I was asked to lead a Bible study. I didn't seek it, led a Bible study. I ended up ministering to the homeless in New York City with the gospel and food. And they asked me can you help us start this Messianic congregation? I said, okay, I'll help you start it, but I'm gonna have to leave because God called me. Ended up, the guy left, and they asked me to lead it. And that's the ministry. That's the congregation I lead. So it happened one after the next. That's the way it's always happened. It just keeps happening. But God, I didn't seek it. God, I just thought, be faithful with whatever God gives you, and God will do it. God will do it.
Yes.
It's amazing, way beyond me. If I had to plan out my life, most of us, if we try to plan out our life and it's a mess, we stop planning out our life, and all of a sudden things start coming together better than anything we could have ever done.
Yes.
And even, again, with the writing with the Harbinger, I always knew I was supposed to write, but I never had time to write. But then it was like, again, I wasn't looking for it. I'm standing at ground zero, and then the Lord starts speaking. I said, okay. So it went step by step by step by step. And it was all supernatural, and it was all God.
Yes, that's so good. Wow, I did not know that. Thank you for sharing that. Because a lot of people are thinking in the church, there's a bunch of questions. When is God going to bring me the one? When is, and then they also go into, what's my purpose?
Yeah.
But if you just follow the Lord and be faithful right now with whatever He's giving you.
Yes.
It'll come.
Yes. And the other, yes. And the thing is, so on one hand, listen, God blessed us. We are blessed. We are supposed to, we're on earth to bless, and when you have, that gives you purpose right now. I'm here to do God's will. I'm a messenger on earth, and that's exciting as well. And the thing is that you want to know God's will for the specific will for your life. Follow the will of God that he already revealed in the Bible. As you follow that, that will lead you into the specific destiny that God has. So do what you know. The known will lead you to the unknown. It will lead you to the exact step, the exact footstep. You'll be at the exact moment, at the exact time, with the exact person, with the exact ministry, by following the more you follow what God said. The Bible doesn't focus so much like, okay, know the will of God. It's follow the will of God, obey it. You already know He'll lead you to that other will.
Wow, yes. That's so good.
It's like
so
when
simple.
I didn't plan on this, but when I was going up that mountain, right? It's that night, I'd never been up the mountain before. I didn't know how to get up to the top, And so I said, okay, whenever I get to a fork in the road, I'm going to look and see whichever ground looks higher, I'm going to go up that road. I did that. I didn't make one wrong turn. I ended up on the peak of the mountain. And the thing is, that's the thing in our life, that every day we have choices. Are we going to go up, down, stay where we are, take the step that we know is better, or take the step that the flesh, take it up the spirit? Every time you do that, you're going to be going up that mountain. And when you get up to the mountain, you'll be in the exact center spot. You'll get at the exact peak of your destiny of what God has for your will by just going higher. It doesn't matter where you start on that mountain, you're going to get to the exact same spot.
Yes, that's so good. It's so, and how you're putting it too. It's so simple. Like we think it's so complicated to find our purpose, or we have many purposes, but to find our purpose, and it's really quite simple. It's just seek the Lord now and do right, and every decision, like you said, every decision, make the right one, even the small decisions.
Yeah. And if you mess up, get up and then make the right one. God is a God of grace.
God is a God of grace.
Yeah.
So you're getting all these random questions from me. I'm jumping around, but have you ever had an encounter where you saw the Lord, or you had an open vision, or you were out of your body? Any of those encounters with the Lord to write these, or just in general?
No, not like that. But for instance, when the most recent book before that's out, another book's coming in September, but the last September was The Dragon's Prophecy. I started working on a different book, and the Lord interrupted me. And when I was praying about it, I saw a dragon. I saw a red dragon, and I knew instantly this was Revelation 12. This was the dragon of Revelation 12, and that became the book. So I saw that, in my mind, in that kind of vision. I saw it, and then I knew that was it. I knew this was the book.
Wow.
And then the Lord revealed that way. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The Lord, but it's like, and listen, everybody is different. Everybody, your audience, everybody's different, and realize you're not like someone. Everybody, God has His own calling and His own way of speaking, and it's cool. Some people see visions, not most people. Some people hear voices, not most people. Some people, it doesn't matter. So, well, how can they have this and they get this prophet? It doesn't. No. There's no better. God doesn't have a better calling. We all have a high calling. But the thing that He will speak to you as He speaks to you. But I know the Lord is always going to lead me. I mean, I know as long as I'm seeking Him, I know I'm going to be in the exact spot with this way, that way. I've gotten prophetic words that came true, but He's going to lead me. I've seen it. I know it. And the same with each one watching. Follow the Lord with all your heart. He will lead you. He knows the plans He has for you. And they're good plans. He will guide you as you seek Him.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing how the Lord will, even when you kind of step out of the way, He'll be like, no, redirect. Like this, He wants you to be on the right road.
Yeah. As long as you're open, He's going to get you. He's going to get. If you're seeking God, He's going to. The Magi were into astrology. This is a cult. Yet they had their hearts seeking God. He made sure they got to the exact spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. God's trying to make it mysterious.
No, he's revealing, he's taking mysteries and revealing them to us.
Yes. And also about the Harbinger.
Yes.
I'm just so excited. I have not read it, but I'm so excited to read it because it's bringing back like childhood feelings of, reading comic books. Like, that's so cool. And it's all real. It's all
Yes.
true. It's from the
Yes.
Lord.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't think of the idea, it started here, but I believe this is the Lord for this to come. First of all, this to come out now. I believe the Lord has a reason for it coming out now. I believe we're in a very key time, and he wants as many people to see it. So the thing is, with the Harbinger went out, first book I wrote. By God's grace, it became, went all over. But there's still a lot of people who have never read it or have no idea, and there's a lot of unsaved people. And there's a lot of people who will not read a book, and there's a lot of other people who also who are not saved, and they won't commit to a Christian book. And so the thing is, but this is like made to reach all those people, so it's for believers. Listen, and I'm blessed with it. I mean, I didn't do this, I helped in the thing, but this is way beyond. But the thing is that, and I'm saying I have one copy in my book. It's about to come out. So whenever this is aired, it's probably just about to come out, and you can probably get it. But I have one copy in our house, and I have to hide it, because my boys want that copy, and I have 3 boys. They want that copy. My wife wants that copy, and so because it's just like, wow, I want to see it. So it's almost like I don't know that anybody is not going to read it. In other words, if you give it to someone, because it is, it looks like a comic. It's a graphic novel, which people who don't know, it's real. Those are real big. They're going all over. And the thing is that we have a whole generation that is visual and is not always reading, But the thing is that whether you're a reader or not a reader, you're going to want to see it. It's like it's exploding, easy to read, and yet when people are reading it who are not saved, if you give it to people who are not saved, before they know it, okay, it's a story, Harbinger, okay, before they know it, wait a minute, is this real? This is real? Wait, this is real, then God is real. This is not it's not like a standard message like they might have a okay, no, I don't want to hear. They have no idea. So wait a minute, the God of the Bible is real now, is actually moving the same way he moved in the Bible, and it's America, and I'm in this mystery because I'm in America. This is the future. And what am I going to do? So it's the reality of God, but they're seeing it. It's very hard not to read it because it's filled. And the guy did a great job. So you're actually seeing the harbingers. You're also, something that I couldn't do, like when I wrote it, is that he'll have like one side of the book, you'll see the ancient harbinger that appeared, the warning of judgment. And then you'll see the same harbinger, how it reappeared in America or on the streets of New York City. You'll see it side by side, which is like, wow. So there's a power in visuals. And the other thing is that Steve Strang, who's the publisher of Charisma, he read it. He read the original. He read that. He said, I saw all sorts of things that I didn't know were there, because your mind is, when you see something, it's different. I read it. I saw things that I didn't know were there, and I wrote it. So there, it's like a prophetic tool, a prophetic vessel, a prophetic revelation. So I pray that people will get it, not just for yourself. I believe you'll love it, but think about people in your life who you can actually touch. They'll say, what is this? And they won't even think it's religious. They go, what is this harbinger thing? And they'll read it, and God can touch them. And it leads up, because the book has it, but it leads up, this has it leads up to salvation. For those who don't know the Lord, has salvation. And then it leads up to, what do we do now? Like as a people for the future, for America. So is the prophetic call. So so I'm praying that people use it total to touch people.
Yes,
their lives.
I think that's brilliant that we can just give it to somebody. And the harbinger, they're not going to really know what that means.
Yeah. So they're going to say, what is that? And then it says, the ancient mystery that holds the secret of America. So, wait, whoa, what is this? Is this real?
Right.
Not real? And the other thing is that for people who don't know, this is, even though it looks like, has that comical look, it's art. It's art. But every major thing in the Harbinger is in there. It's a full book. Everything in the Harbinger is in there. Major things. So you'll get it, and they'll get it. Yeah.
So cool. So cool. And it's going to be so impactful for so many people. And like you said, it's going to reach the unbeliever. And they can't deny the things that are in here.
It's really, that's the thing. It's really hard to do it. When I first wrote it, somebody looked at the manuscript who was an Orthodox Jewish lawyer, and she was going over it just for and she said, when I read that, I couldn't believe that any of this was real. I said, so I went to the internet, I typed in it, every single thing was real. I said, yeah, I know. She's like, wow. Like, she had no idea. So people have gotten saved with the Harbinger, who were Orthodox Jews, who were Mormons, who were into the gender thing, into everything, because it's hard. you can't really deny it. So you got to you got to make a decision one way or the other,
Right.
and you're in it. We're
Right.
all in this mystery. This is reality.
Right.
Where people pray, I wish I could live in Bible times. We're living in Bible times,
Right.
and this is it. And the hour is crucial. So for unbelievers and for believers, to be praying for revival, living in revival, because that's the only thing that can save the nation, and that's what we have to live in.
Wow, yes. Amen.
Yeah.
That's so good. Jonathan, everything you say is like
Oh, you're
anointed the Lord.
You're so sweet. Thank you, and thank you. You're very, very sweet, and you speak from the heart. All your questions are of the heart. Your audience is of the heart, and that's
Yes.
awesome. And that's awesome. With that, yeah,
Yes.
and just as and with this, I don't know I don't know how it works and when it's going to go out, but it's probably going to be just about release. So you can you can get it before it releases, whatever. But it's literally everywhere. So if you go on
Yes.
Amazon right now, you'll see it. But I got to say one thing: there's another graphic novel called The Harbinger that has nothing to do with anything. It's worldly and all that. So just make sure it says The Harbinger. It looks like this. It looks like this cover, or it says Jonathan Cahn. Just to make sure. 'Cause I don't want you getting that and saying, what's
right,
this? Yeah.
Right. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'll put the link for sure.
Okay.
I'll put the link.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for
Thank
answering
you,
all my
Jenna.
questions.
Thank you,
so
Jacqueline.
interesting. So
it was
awesome.
a joy. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.